Welcome back, college football fans, and wow, what a start to the college football season with those Week 0 games. Didn't exactly go the way that I wanted it to go last week, but hey, that's college football for you. Boy, do we have a good one lined up for you guys this week. Going to recap last week, kind of give you our picks for who we think are going to win our Power 4 conference championships. Of course, we can't pick Power 5 because Pac-12 is now dead. But I am not on my own this week. I am your host, Scott Ellia, and today we have the fella who knows how to pop, lock, but not drop it, Reid Murphy.
That's right. You got to be careful. Never drop it. Never drop it.
You know what? You're just that four-letter name. You're not Huey. You're Reid. You're not dropping it.
I'm Riri.
Oh boy, Reid. Like I said, I don't know about you, but I was so it's that post-Christmas holiday season hangover there after that slate of Week 0 games. I don't know how you felt after this weekend.
Yeah, I think I had a little bit. It was kind of like a preseason weekend almost for me. Like, it was really FSU, Georgia Tech that was the big one. Delaware State, Hawaii, I cared about just because of the storyline leading into it. But that FSU, the FSU Georgia Tech game was really the only one that really got me going, and like it was like a nice step into the season, right? And now it led me into this, past Thursday, and now this weekend. Oh boy, watching McAfee's show today, felt like I was in Morgantown. I'm ready.
In this slate of games this weekend is going to be nothing but exciting. But yeah, Week 0 definitely kicked off the college football season in a great way. Upsets, travel debacles, like you said, with the Hawaii and Delaware State game, and then fights breaking out with SMU and Nevada.
Yes.
It was just absolutely crazy. But before we get into really the thick of it for the upcoming weekend, a little bit of a recap. Game of the week last week, like we mentioned, number 10 Florida State and Georgia Tech traveling to Dublin, Ireland. Georgia Tech got the upset win 24-21 on the last-minute field goal. It was a hard-fought back-and-forth game. After the game was done, I had to sit there for a second in my silence. I ordered a pizza. I just drowned my sorrows for a second, and after I got carbo loaded, I kind of went over the game tape and kind of went over the stats and stuff. It wasn't the way that I wanted to go, of course, but hey, I think I already had Florida State losing 2 or 3 games this season, so I feel they're already kind of have one baked in to have, a one mulligan game, and what better game to lose than your first one to really try to light a fire underneath a team that really is a brand new team compared to last season. And this goes back to the conversation that we had last week about why these early season, preseason rankings shouldn't really be a thing. It's great that Florida State opened up the season at ranked 10. But this is kind of where the storyline goes, right? Like, Georgia Tech now has a win under their belt against a top 10 team. Is that going to play in their favor down the road? Who knows? But hey, I do want to say that I was very impressed with the running back out of Georgia Tech, Jamal Haynes. 11 carries, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. One thing that Mike Norvell and crew need to do is set the edge going back this week. They got Boston College coming into Doak Campbell this week, so hopefully they can get the defense going right. But I was blown away by Florida State's kicker, Ryan Fitzgerald, who nailed 2 for 2. Both from 50 plus, and one of which being from 59 yards away. Reid, am I missing something, or is that not usual for a college kicker to nail a damn near 60-yard field goal?
It's not. It's really not. You get worried.
He had plenty of leg too, dude. It was right down the pipes.
I get concerned with the college kickers when they're going at like 40 sometimes. Like, they'll have the leg, but it's going to go like straight through a fan somewhere, right, like deep out left, shanked.
Oh, I was just on pins and needles, and like they just haven't had very stable kickers ever since Roberto Aguero.
I was going to say,
from the 2014 team. Like, so
second round
Ryan Fitzgerald, he's definitely kind of righted the ship as far as the special teams go. But hey, that was last week. Well, I'm more worried about this week.
I am curious about how you felt about DJU.
he is who he thought he was. I mean, if you ask any Florida State fan or anyone who really watches college football very deeply, I mean, this is a guy who came out number 1 overall, 5-star plus recruit from John Bosco, went to Clemson, didn't really fit what Dabo was trying to do there, went to Oregon State, and now transferred now to Florida State. I will say in that recruiting class, like I said, he was the number 1 quarterback in that recruiting class. Do you want to guess who number 2 was in the recruiting class?
And I'm trying to think, in that class, that was DJU, and that class was not Fields. No, who?
Close. CJ Stroud.
Damn.
And you have CJ Stroud, who's now going into his sophomore season in the NFL, and DJ's still playing.
I mean, DJ fooled me at the start after Watson left at Clemson, where I thought DJU, I was like, okay, this dude's going to be like the next second coming of Cam Newton. Look at him. Like, the size is there, the arm is there, everything's there, and that didn't amount. But I will say, every year he fools me into thinking that this is finally going to happen. That first FSU drive there, I was like, oh, okay, DJU's back. Like, this is the season, number 1 overall out of nowhere. And then, then all of a sudden I was like, oh, Georgia Tech's the real deal.
Right. And I mean, honestly, Georgia Tech seems to be, I don't want to say a Titan killer, because I don't feel that Florida State's going to be the team like they were last year. They're going to have a little bit more struggles this year. But I mean, this isn't the first time that Georgia Tech has taken down a highly ranked team. I mean, I think last year alone, they took down like 2 or 3, including UNC in back-to-back years, who, shout out to Max Johnson. You're in our thoughts and prayers. Hope for well wishes for a speedy recovery. Had a very scary lower body injury. I believe he broke his femur.
Damn.
and he's out for the season now. So I don't know what UNC is going to be doing now this season, now that they lost him. So we'll see. But hey, Georgia Tech, they're back at home this week against Georgia State. So I don't think they're going to be slowing down anytime soon. And then rolling into the wheel of degenerate, womp womp. Those are the only 2 words I can give you right now. I went into that betting slip so sure of myself, so confident that I was going to hit it, finally going to be able to hit something. And God, did the betting gods not want to shine their light on me. Like I said, Georgia Tech over Florida State 24-21, Montana State over New Mexico 35-31, SMU over Nevada 29-24, and Hawaii over Delaware State 35-14. But if you picked all 4 underdogs to cover the spread, you would have won.
That's week 0 for you. That's week 0.
That's week 0 for you. And I guess I'll just rip the Band-Aid off and we'll get the Colorado talk over with. This is going to be probably one of the quicker segments. We have to talk about it from last night's game. Peek behind the curtain. We are recording on August 30th on a Friday, and they played last night. 31-26 over North Dakota State. I guess congrats, but you did what you were supposed to do. Like, you are a Power 4 conference team. Yes, you're playing one of the highly touted, respectable D2 programs in North Dakota State. But, I mean, North Dakota State dominated the time of possession. They put up 449 yards against Colorado, 157 rushing yards to 59 rushing yards for Colorado. Colorado's D-line still looks to be a liability again this year, even with Warren Sapp coming in to be a coach there in Boulder. But a huge game by Jimmy Horn Jr., 7 receptions, 198 yards, and 1 touchdown. That's amazing. I am very concerned with the workload that they're throwing on Travis Hunter. I think Travis Hunter right now is kind of getting lumped into a lot of the negativity that Dion and his sons kind of bring from the outside in. I think a lot of haters are kind of just like lumping Travis Hunter into the same conversation, which I don't totally agree with, even with me being a Florida State fan. And he did have that last minute, commitment to Colorado away from Florida State. I can look past that. He's young. He's a kid. He's going to do what he wants to do. But I mean, this is a kid. He doesn't like to party. All he cares about is fishing and playing his video games. And, he has a level head on his shoulders. And I don't want to see him kind of get poisoned.
Yeah.
if that's a lack of better words, by slime time. Reid, do you have any thoughts coming out of that Colorado game last night?
I thoroughly enjoyed that game from what I was able to watch. Like, again, peeking behind the curtain, we were recording the NFL preview show, right? And as that was happening here in Fredericksburg, Virginia, a rapture just happened to be taking place outside with a holy hell of a storm. Somebody pissed God off enough to bring this storm upon us to where we finished recording. I grab my food. I come back into the room I set up to watch the Colorado game, and this clap of thunder hits, and I pick my shit back up and sheepishly walk back into the living room like a child because I didn't want to be alone in the room during that storm. But thankfully, the game ended just early enough to where, or not the game ended, the storm ended just early enough to where I could still catch most of the second half of the game. And that catch, man, that catch by Travis Hunter, I think it was his third touchdown of the game. It was one of the most insane catches I've seen a college player make. Like the body control, the awareness on it, like it looked effortless by him. And I mean, I agree with you. This dude is solid. Somebody asked, like, where do you draft? Like, what do you draft him as in the NFL draft, a corner or wide receiver? And my answer was first overall. That's all you got to do. But I think, talking about the workload, I think from this point on, like, you got to go receiver with him. He's a damn good corner, but he's a great wide receiver. And dude is just a talent all over the field. Shedeur Sanders really kind of impressed me again last night. I actually like seeing him make some overthrows and some mistakes now, where he's not putting so much pressure on the stat line to do it. But overall, as a team, like you said, they did what they were supposed to do. They should, like, not taking anything away from North Dakota State, but Colorado and the talent that Deion has acquired there should beat North Dakota State. And it wasn't looking like that in the first half. As soon as we got closer to halftime, sure, but that game was still tight. It was still close, and they got some good breaks there at the end. There was even a play I remember where Colorado's O-line, like, clearly moving before the snap. Nobody called shit. So I think Colorado kind of escaped with one here, and it's one that they should have taken on. I'm curious what they're going to look like as they go forward into the season. I think they'll be kind of the same thing as last year, honestly. Hot start and, kind of a slow cool down after, like, it gets to a certain point of hype with all these different celebrities coming to the games and everything's back. But overall, enjoyable game. Good start for the season for me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And like you said, reiterating, you did what you were supposed to do. Was it ugly? Yes. You walked away with the win. Could have been handed to you a little bit with some calls one way or the other. Sure. But I mean, you can make that argument with a lot of games in any sport. So, I mean, I digress from there, but I lean heavier on that fact of doing what you're supposed to do, because the four top five teams played last night as well. NC State, Kansas, Utah, and Missouri. And they all won. And they won handedly. Missouri 51-0 over Murray State. Utah 49-0 over Southern Utah. 48-0 Kansas over Lindenwood. And then NC State 38 over Western Carolina's 21. They did what they were supposed to do, but they showed why they are a top tier Power 4 conference team. And Colorado right now, they're making the move in the jump to the Big 12, but you look at their schedule and I don't know how many wins they're going to get. I mean, just rattling it off from top to bottom, next week they're going to Lincoln and playing Nebraska, and then they're on the road again against Colorado State, and we both remember how that Colorado State game went last year. So there's definitely going to be some gritty, tough playing there in the second week of September. But rolling from there, I mean, Baylor, UCF on the road, Kansas State, at Arizona, Cincinnati, at Texas Tech, home against Utah, at Kansas, and at home against Oklahoma State. I mean, five of their last seven are all in the top 25 right now.
Yeah.
And they're all teams that could vie for the Big 12 championship game. So looking at the schedule, you got this win right now, but I could see in a world they don't break that 4-win threshold like they did last year. They might not break 2 or 3, depending on how they get their defense in line. Because if you're letting North Dakota State put up 450 yards on you, rushing for, like I said, for 150, and you're going to start going against the cream of the crop in college football from here on out. Like I good luck, Dion. But I will say after that win, the Primetime Express hit the tracks on Twitter. Well, X, formerly known as Twitter, and all over the place because everyone was coming out saying, we're back, championships are bust, Travis Hunter, Heisman, which I don't disagree with that totally. I just really worry about his workload.
His workload and just the amount of press that's going to be coming on to him, the pressure that's going to be there. I mean, he got hurt last year just off of one of those big blow-up injuries. And I think that can honestly be a threat more this season just with that workload. If you're going to be playing on both sides, they need to go ahead and make the call for him. Make the decision right now, where are we going to play you the most? You can occasionally put him out there on a defense, for big moments or particular drives, but you need to keep the dude rested on offense. He's a great weapon for Shedeur. He just brings a spark and an energy that you need through these games and a leadership quality that you need. Keep the dude healthy, and I like the Heisman talk for him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But moving forward, I think that's enough Colorado coverage. This damn show. But I do want to say a quick congratulations before we give the folks what they came here for in our conference championship predictions. I want to say congrats to, I believe, one of your favorite coaches of all time in Jack Del Rio. He is joining Luke Fickell at Wisconsin as a senior advisor. For those folks who've been living under a rock for the last, I don't know, damn near 30, 40 years. Once head coach of the Jaguars and the Oakland Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders now, as well as defensive coordinator for the Panthers, Broncos, and most recently Reid's Commanders. Career coaching record, 94-97, 1-3 in the postseason. Reid, I don't have very many thoughts with this because it's definitely a head scratcher. I guess it's a guaranteed paycheck for him, which is nice, but I want to get your thoughts on Jack Del Rio going down to the college ranks.
I mean, he's a decent enough coach. I think the NFL game kind of passed him by, and that level of talent and skill and coaching acumen that was happening in the NFL just kind of passed him by. Maybe he was a product of Ron Rivera. Maybe he was a product of the completely awful drafting done by Ron Rivera, where we're taking Jamin Davis over Micah Parsons, or we're taking whoever in the draft that sets him up to kind of fail. I had a lot of hype for Del Rio when he joined as a defensive coordinator for Washington. I think that he can at least do well as a leader in college. He'll be relaxed. I don't know necessarily, is there a last time that he was coaching in college, in the college ranks overall? Ooh. Or is this like a first time? Because I mean, the thing with Del Rio is, and like any NFL coaches going down to college, the skill level's particularly down. You can match things. You can hit them with kind of sort of pro-ready schemes that will blow up a lot of other college defenses. He just can't think too hard and get a little too complicated for these guys, because these college kids are not going to catch on to a pro-level defense and a pro-level scheme that fast. Overall, I mean, it's so. Go ahead, get Del Rio. It's a good name, good leadership quality to have for a young coach.
Yeah, especially for any kind of young defensive players coming up through high school, going into college. Hopefully that's a nice little feather in Luke Fickell's cap to help with recruiting at least. Yeah. But to answer your question, no, he's never coached in any level of college. I mean, because before he came out straight from being a player. I mean, he was a longtime player. He played from like 84, 85 to like the late 90s. I remember him being like on the Saints and the Dolphins and the Cowboys, kind of as a linebacker. He never really really amounted to much. But no, I mean, looking at his coaching history, he rolled right into being the assistant strength coach for the Saints in 1997, and then just worked his way up from there. I think he really came out on the scene when he was a linebackers coach there in Baltimore for their Super Bowl win that they had in the early 2000s. And then from there, that's what got him his that defensive coordinator job in Carolina. And then that 1 year there got him that head coaching job in Jacksonville. And he was in Jacksonville for damn near a decade. Eventually got booted out of there, jumped ship to Denver in 2012, and then back at the head coaching helm for the Oakland Raiders in 2015.
Got kind of screwed with the Raiders.
Oh, kinda?
Yeah.
I mean, when you think Raiders, screwed seems to be a very synonymous word for that franchise. But no, and then I remember he took that little bit of a break, took a little bit of a hiatus after that Raiders, which I don't blame him after that whole mess. But yeah, ended his NFL career with the Washington football team / Commanders for 3 years as their defensive coordinator. We had many conversations over those 3 years about him. 3 years too long, in my opinion.
The two best things that I'll give Del Rio is he has one of the best football names, I think, in history of Jack Del Rio. That's a good football name to me. Would have been better as a quarterback. Worked for his son, Luke Del Rio, who was a quarterback. Didn't really do shit, but, good name. And he also tried to bring back the suit for coaches on the sidelines at one point. I don't remember if it was when he was with the Jags or with the Raiders, but yeah, he tried to bring back the suit, and Nike got really upset with him, and he had to get a Nike custom-made suit that he quickly got rid of.
Listen, if we know, and I know this is mainly college football, but we'll talk about the NFL here for just one quick second. Mike McDaniel would watch the NFL burn to ash before he puts on a suit.
Which is unfortunate. That's Miami. You should be doing that.
Well, and you can see how much Miami has corrupted him over the last 3 seasons, from his opening presser as the head coach being announced to his most recent one. I mean, talk about just embracing.
Yeah. I don't know if he is a crypto bro, but he looks like a crypto bro.
I can tell you one person who's not a crypto bro, and that's Nick Saban.
Damn right.
And Nick Saban's now gone. He is now joining the ranks of College Game Day over there at ESPN. Kalen DeBoer from Washington, head coach from Washington, the little darling team from last year is now at the helm. Reid, I want to roll into who you feel are going to end up winning the conference championships for these Power Four teams. Let's just start with the SEC. Last year's championship game was Alabama over Georgia 27-24, and when my opinion is what really threw the wrench for the college football committee to justify not including Florida State. You got Alabama to go in there, win the championship. You still had Georgia's powerhouse. I still feel that somehow they knew this was Nick Saban's last year, so they had to give him one more. For me, it has to be Georgia, right? Even though they ended last season with 6 top 25 teams in Georgia, Missouri, Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss, and LSU, it's still going to be the conference to beat. I mean, you have the likes of Oklahoma and Texas joining them this season. But to me, it's kind of self-explanatory. Georgia is the Chiefs of the college football world. Yeah. And it's hard to bet against them when they've just had such a long, sustained success over the last couple of years with Kirby Smart at the helm. Is that totally off base, or do you have a surprise pick for the SEC, or are you going to be joining me with this one?
No, I wish I could go with a surprise pick, but I do have to go with Ray Charles and Georgia over Texas. I do give Texas a little close to it. I like Texas's offense, but dude, I mean, Georgia, it's a safe pick, but you got Carson back, who I think he's a Heisman contender. I don't know about a favorite, but along with Beck, you got Ibuka, Restrepo, Etienne. I know the defense is good, even if I can't name anybody on there besides Malachi Starks. But Georgia's just, it's a powerhouse. It's a powerhouse of the SEC. Even with the new ones coming in, I really do think Texas will be the only threat, and it won't be a big threat.
No, absolutely. Georgia is just that team I feel for this decade is just going to constantly just reload. They're not rebuilding. They're just reloading. They have kids coming in and year out who are easily can just get plugged in there.
Now go.
Sorry. They just plug and play, and they just keep it moving. Like I said, Carson Beck's still there. He got another year of experience under his belt. Ole Miss might surprise you this year, I feel, with Jackson Dart. But I don't.
Good quarterback name.
Oh, right. I mean, that's alone when he comes out to go to the NFL. But that's enough SEC. We're going to hear SEC talk all damn year.
Yeah.
Roll into the Big 12. We talked about, Texas and Oklahoma are leaving Big 12, going to the SEC. Last year's championship game showed Texas beating Oklahoma State 49-21. This conference is wide open, in my humble opinion. I mean, you're losing the two cornerstone institutions of the Big 12, and you're left with kind of the leftovers. I mean, these are teams that could easily join, a Big 10 or join the SEC. But they kind of all banded together and stuck it out, and they did what they needed to do to keep the Big 12 alive. Honestly, I feel one team to look out for, and it's going to be my pick to win the Big 12, and that's going to be the Utah Utes. I mean, hyper-competitive team coming from the Pac-12. They just ran into Oregon in the little darling Washington Huskies last year, and they kind of weren't able to do anything. But, I mean, the previous year before that, they beat USC in the championship game, and I honestly feel they're going to continue this success into what I said is a very mediocre Big 12.
Yeah, overall, I think it's kind of the same. I'm on the same kind of rise with you. I'm not going to give it to Colorado, but Oklahoma State is going to be my pick here. Utah, I do like Cam Rising. I like Cam Rising a lot, but Oklahoma State, I think, just has kind of the best level of everything outside of quarterback, especially with Ollie Gordon, who's just going to be a threat this year.
Oh, he's a monster.
Yeah, just a monster. So I'm going to take Oklahoma State for the Big 12.
Ooh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Going into the Big 10, another, like we mentioned last week, another conference that has a lot of additions, Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA. Last year, Michigan somehow beat Iowa 26-10. Michigan's in a little bit of hot water right now, Reid, from last year's sign stealing debacle. They don't have Harbaugh, who left to go coach the Los Angeles Chargers. Sean Moore is now at the helm there in Michigan. And Ohio State is very scary. Yeah. They are a lot of people's favorites to win everything as far as the national title goes. But for me, fuck Ohio State. I refuse to give Ohio State anything. I'm going to give this to just like how I'm going to give it to Utah in the Big 12. I'm going to give it to Oregon in the Big 10. Coming over, you got Dan Lanning. You got the transfer quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, coming over and taking the spot for Bo Nix. I mean, this is a kid who's been playing for 7 seasons, I think, 6 or 7 seasons. And every year he's played is just lit up the stat line and just won everywhere he goes. It's definitely the quarterback that Dan Lanning wanted to have. And I feel that team is going to be very, very, very difficult to beat in an already hyper-competitive conference like the SEC in the Big 10.
I'm rolling with you, actually. Ohio State can fuck thee off, and I'm rolling with Oregon. I'm rolling with Oregon here. I love Dan Lanning. I'm a big Dan Lanning fan, and getting Dylan Gabriel is such a big plus for that team. I think that team is thriving on these veteran quarterbacks, as we know Bo Nix played for close to 30 years in the college ranks. Dylan Gabriel, he's entering his 20th season in college, so this is going to be a like match made in heaven for that team. Of course, Ohio State's still going to be great. I just don't know if I trust Will Howard completely at that spot. It's not really going to matter too much, but I've also predicted that Ohio State's going to fall off hard this year, and I'm still sticking by that. Ryan Day's, the darker Ryan Day's hair gets, the more he's showing that it's a fraud scheme that he's got going on there.
Could you say his days are numbered? Can't even get fanfare on my own show, but hey, it is what it is. No, I think you're right. I think this is Ryan Day's prove it season. Like, shit or get off the pot. Beat the team up north, beat Michigan, get into the championship game, if he's able to even just manage to get to college football playoff, not win the Natty, not do any of that, just get over the hump. That's going to buy him a little bit more time. But if he doesn't get there this season, I don't see him lasting any longer. And one really nice thing to remember is that just like the SEC, the Big Ten has gotten rid of their whole East-West divisions within the conference. So now Iowa, sorry, you don't get an automatic bid to go into the championship game.
Iowa's got to score more than 20 points. Shit, more than like 13.
I would, I think one bit of advice that we got from the old ladies who bet last year, especially when it comes to college football, in any Iowa game, take the under.
Yes.
Just take the under and just let it ride. Just let it ride. But we're going to let it ride going into the next conference of the ACC. As we all remember, FSU defeats Louisville last year, 16-6, without starting quarterback Jordan Travis. This year's Florida State team, like we mentioned, looks completely different from last year's. Got some new teams added to the ACC, like Cal and SMU. There's some huge transfers coming in, like Cam Ward going to Miami. There's a lot of hype around Miami, but hey, there's been hype around Miami for the last 23 years. Cool. Florida State's already 0-1 to start the season. This year is going to be a complete crapshoot, especially now, like I mentioned, with starting UNC quarterback going down with a broken leg. My pick is going to be Florida State. And would you like to know why, Reid?
Why?
Because I said so. That's why. Deal with it.
Works enough. The people on YouTube will love that. The people on YouTube that have been commenting all over your top 5 most annoying fan bases will thrive with that comment, I'm sure.
Good. You know what? And let's just go down the whole ACC rankings right now, so that way I can let everyone know how I feel about them. Georgia Tech, congrats. You're awesome. North Carolina State, that's going to be a team I'm going to say to really watch out for. I could see them making it to the ACC championship game easily this year. I would not be surprised if they actually take it.
Why?
Why not? Is that a good enough reason for you?
That's fine by me.
No, I mean, it's like Grayson McCall's coming back. He is going to be insane. I mean, this is like a 6-year senior quarterback. That North Carolina State team you never know what to expect with them. Like their offense is lights out. They play very fast, very downhill, very aggressive. And they're one of those teams that you don't really associate with college football success. And I think that's kind of like kind of a blessing to them at this point. But I would definitely stay still to look out for them coming out. I would have said UNC, but like I said before, not so much now with their quarterback going down. And then everyone else from the top down, you can go fuck yourselves. How about that?
I know that you will not be proud of or happy with my prediction for ACC champ here. I don't really want to go this route. I know it'll blow up in my face. It's not Clemson. Don't worry. They can fuck all the way off. I like their defense as always. Dabo's always got a good defense there. I don't trust anything on offense with that team. It's unfortunately Miami. I have to roll with Miami on this one. The only thing I don't trust with Miami, because this is I think it's a damn talented team. I love the acquisition of Cam Ward for them. I just don't trust Cristobal. I trust him as a recruiter. He'd be a fantastic, like if colleges had GMs, if you had a GM,
looks like way it might happen.
He'd be incredible in that role. But I have never seen somebody get more in their own way as a coach than Mario Cristobal. That dude will single-handedly lose you. He will do it this season. He's going to lose some big game. Just like the kneel down last year. Like Cristobal will find some way to do it, but if he can just stay out of his own way, I think that team can be a hella good team.
No, it's you're not off base, but I'm right there with you. That's kind of where my big question mark is Mario Cristobal and his coaching ability down there in South Beach. I will give you another team that's going to be the Virginia Tech Hokies. I mean, they're returning 20 starters this year, and Brent Pry has he's coming in his third season there in Blacksburg. He seems to be riding the ship ever since they unfortunately parted ways with Beamer.
Yeah.
Get away from Beamer ball. You know, who was the coach before? Justin Fuente.
Yeah, Fuentes.
There afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we saw how he did. But no, I think I'll give you another team to look out for. That's going to be Virginia Tech. But yeah, I mean, outside of those Power Four conferences, those champions, they make up the first 4 slots in the college football playoff. And Reid, I feel like it's safe to say the remaining 8 slots are going to be filled primarily with the runner-ups in each of those conference championship games, with a heavier emphasis on SEC and Big Ten teams.
Oh, for sure.
It's what the committee wants. But you know what the fans want right now, but we're not going to give it to them. It's going to be our national champion picks. We're gonna save that up for next week. Let's get past week 1. There's a great slate of games. Let's see how these teams are playing, and then let's revisit this discussion next week. How about that, Reid?
That works for me. That works.
But one thing that we won't revisit, because I refuse to revisit on my own laurels, is the top 25. I will not be giving you my shameful 8 like we did last season, because I would like to see how these teams shake out. I'm going to wait until, like I said, week 5. I'll give it to you then. But right now, sorry, you're going to have to wait. But I guess I'll leave you guys with a couple other names to look out for as far as Heisman hopefuls go. Starting from the bottom up, Michigan running back Donovan Edwards. Last year, 119 carries, 497 yards, 5 touchdowns. Yes, that doesn't seem very crazy, but you got to remember he was playing behind Blake Corum, now running back of the Los Angeles Rams. I'm very excited to see what he's able to do there in Michigan. Another name, Reid, that a lot of folks may not know about is Missouri wide receiver Luther Burden III. Last year, these are numbers that you would love to see anyone coming into the NFL doing. 86 receptions, 1,200 yards, averaging 14 yards a catch for 9 touchdowns.
Jesus.
I think you know who I think he would like throwing him the ball on the outside? Jane Daniels.
Oh, yes, he would. Break that ass.
Oh, but 3 asses that you won't be bringing to Washington because you already paid a man. Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart as another guy to look out for. Last year, a 65% completion rating, averaged 9 yards completion, 23 touchdowns and 5 picks. Alabama's quarterback Jalen Milroe. I want to get your thoughts real quick on Milroe because I feel like this might be your guy. Not for obvious reasons, but I feel like if you actually watched him play, he's the kind of quarterback I feel you would fall in love with. Last year, posted 65.8 completion percentage, averaged 10 yards of completion, and 23 touchdowns, 6 picks. Have you watched a lot of Jalen Milroe, or are you still kind of?
I actually was following for Milroe a little bit last year. I saw quite a few of his games. The only thing that was getting me with him, and I could give it a pass knowing he was coming back this year, is just consistency. I think a lot of his performance during games, there were just some mistakes that he couldn't quite get over the hump on. I know. I'll hit it for you. I'll do the
Pause. Now go.
There were just some things that he couldn't quite get over for me, and I think another year, an off season in the books, he'll get this through. He's an exciting, talented, agile player. I think he's got a little Jalen Hurts in him. I like the leadership qualities there. God damn it. Yep, I'll hit it. Damn it. Even with saying hit it, I got to do it.
Pause. Now go.
Overall, I like Jalen Milroe. Let me get out of here safely.
Okay. Let's just wrap it up with the last gentleman that we have on this list of Heisman hopefuls, Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers, a junior down there in Arlington last year, posted 69% completion rating, 8.8 yards a completion, 22 touchdowns, and 6 picks. Looks like to be potentially his last season there in Arlington. I mean, you have Archie Manning right behind him, so it's not like Texas is going to be really hurting for any kind of help coming in after he's going to be leaving. But I feel with the NFL landscape right now with quarterbacks, especially in Dallas, who they might move on from Dak Prescott, and they might be having a higher than average pick this year, according to me, but could have been Reid. You're going to have to find that out on the NFL Gallant show here on the 323 Network. Had a really great time previewing the NFL season, who we feel are going to be coming out of the playoffs, giving you some really hot, spicy takes, Reid. No, Reid, for folks at home who might not know where to find the Gallant show, can you remind them where they can find it?
The 323 Network on YouTube. You can go subscribe to that channel. It's there anyway, but you should subscribe because part 1 will be out now. Part 2 with our full season predictions will be out a little bit early in the next week. But if you're subscribing, you'll know when it hits and you'll be ready for it. So go follow, watch our beautiful faces there, or find the show anywhere that you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple, all those great joints.
Fantastic. And let's just, closing out the show, let's get to what you all come here for, and that is the game of the week. Now, College Game Day with ESPN, they are going to be traveling to College Station for the Notre Dame Texas A&M game. Lee Corso will be making his season appearance this week, as well as Johnny Manziel as the guest picker this week. Now, in their prime, and I'm not talking about playing prime, I'm talking about their partying prime, because folks who don't know, Lee Corso went to Florida State, and Florida State's a very big party school. Who do you think could outdrink who between Lee Corso and Johnny Manziel? Do you think the bars would be left standing if they both?
No, they would not. Not prime, not drinking prime on there. I mean, Lee Corso is pretty preserved for whatever his age is right now. So he might have put Johnny Manziel down, before these pre-regulated liquors were really flowing. But Manziel was also doing some different stuff, allegedly.
Hey, I'm sure both of them have committed plenty of sins in their past. And speaking of sins, let's travel to Sin City itself in Las Vegas, Nevada, where we're going to be going to College Shame Days game of the week of number 23 USC at, and if you can't hear the air quotes, there were air quotes in the at, number 13 LSU. LSU opens up as 4-point favorites, but remember USC is going to be without their star quarterback Caleb Williams and LSU without star quarterback Jaden Daniels. Their respective quarterbacks, Miller Moss at USC and Garrett Nussmeier at LSU, are both making their first career starts. I feel that LSU should be relying very heavily on their running game, just simply based on the amount of experience, not only in the backfield, but as well as their very stout O-line. But remember, Reid, LSU has lost the last 4 season openers in a row. Back-to-back seasons against Florida State, 2021 against UCLA, and 2020 against Mississippi State. Do you feel that overhyped Brian Kelly can finally get that win for LSU in the opening of the season? Or do you think this is just going to be another nail in the coffin for the Brian Kelly experience?
No, I think it's another nail in the coffin for the Brian Kelly experience. The dude he delivers on overhype, right?
overhype, over cringe. Like, he just has no business being in Louisiana.
With a southern accent, too, that he developed for the LSU experience.
He's just code switching, man. Leave him alone.
I do declare.
Jesus Christ. Oh, but switching it up to Lame of the Week, we're not going to give them any hype that we want to do. It's going to be number 19 Miami at Florida. Reid, I have one question for you about this game. I don't give a fuck about anyone going on the field. I don't give a fuck about Cajun Willie Taggart and Billy Napier in Florida. My one question is, can Bane just come out and blow up the swamp, please?
He could. I mean, even Bane's scared of Florida. Bane would fuck with Gotham. He's not going to Florida. He's not going to the swamp.
No.
They'll fight him.
Never.
Everybody in the swamp already works for Bane.
See, now, you know what? Maybe that's why Bane failed. Maybe because he didn't have enough Florida folk on. He didn't have Florida men on his team. He wasn't able to take Batman down.
Just an army of Floridians invading Gotham City.
But I can tell you one thing that Bane's not afraid of, and that is the Wheel Degenerate.
Oh,
And what a week do we have, Reid? This week is this. I don't know which game I want to watch. I want to watch all of them, and I intend on doing so. But folks who are joining us for the first time and are asking themselves, what in the hell is the Wheel Degenerate? That's when Scott likes to burn money and just lose it for no good reason. We take all top 25 team games, throw it in a wheel, spin it 5 times. We try to trust the fates, and whatever game it lands on, I will be making a 5-pick parlay out of those games. I will not tell you here on the show who I will be picking. There's only one place you'll be able to find the Wheel Degenerate betting slip, and that is going to be on Instagram at 323 College Shame Day. It will be posted before the first slate of games in the afternoon, so make sure to check in there. I will give you a disclaimer, bet at your own risk. For those who have been longtime listeners of the show, know my track record with this betting slip, and it's not very good odds. But let's get it underway. Let's bring out the wheel, Reid. There it is.
look at the wheel. It's back.
In all its glory, it is back. Look at the production value.
Oh, welcome back, wheel.
You know what? And for folks who would love to see this production value of the Wheel of Degenerate here at College Shame Day, check us out on YouTube at 323. Reid, I believe.
That's me.
That's you.
Yes.
Reid, would you like to give it the first honor, the season opening spin? Would you like to give it a spin?
Yes.
No, fuck you, because I got control.
Damn it.
This is my show.
I can't.
Who you are, I am.
Who do you think
Who
you
you
are?
think you are, I am. Opening up the first game of the Wheel of Degenerate is going to be UT Martin. Oh, God. UT Martin traveling to number 18 Kansas State. Man, that's amazing.
That's a game for sure.
It's a game.
I can't wait.
I got nothing to say about it. Do declare, Brian Kelly. Oh man, talking about fake Southern accents, Fresno State, Derek Carr's alma mater, playing at number 9 Michigan. Like we mentioned, Michigan is in some hot water. They're going to be very interesting to open up the season at home. So we'll see what's going to happen there.
You watch your ass, Connor Stallions. This is coming from Derek Carr.
Oh, speaking of Connor Stallions, real quick, before we announce who the third game on the Wheel of Degenerate is, did you see that he got a defensive coordinator job at a high school?
You're
and
kidding.
they lost like 47-3.
But you know what? Wait till like week 7. Wait till week 7 when he has the signs
Give me
down.
the signs.
When he has the signs down, you can't stop him.
Oh, and just like we talked about, we kind of spoke into existence with the two old ladies that bet. The third game on the Wheel of Degenerate betting slip is Illinois State at number 25 Iowa. Reid, I don't think I want to pick the winner. I think I just want to take the under in that game. Just try to help me out a little bit.
I smell under with that one.
Oh.
State. Good Lord.
Oh wow, look at this, Reid.
Oh.
He's back.
I do declare.
Brian Kelly said, you didn't talk about us enough. You need to talk about us more, because the fourth game on the Wheel of Degenerate betting slip is that game of the week, 23 USC at number 13 LSU. That's going to be very interesting, because folks who know me know I am a man of history, I am a man of consistency, and I look back on the past to give me what I need to do in the future. Part of me feels like I should bet against LSU, but I know my luck. That would jinx myself and give LSU their first win in the last 4 seasons.
I say, that's a Trojan there, boy.
I do declare. And another wonderful game added to the Wheel of Degenerate betting slip. Unranked New Mexico at number 21 Arizona. That's 5.
That's 5.
That's 5.
That's the betting slip.
Just to give it back to you guys, Illinois State at number 25 Iowa, UT Martin at 18 Kansas State, Fresno State at number 9 Michigan, New Mexico at 21 Arizona, and to round it all off in great fashion, College Shame Day's game of the week, number 23 USC at number 13 LSU. Reid, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It has been an amazing. I can't wait for week 1 to roll off. Do you have any parting words for the fans at home?
I do declare that it will be a wonderful week in college football. I am Brian Kelly. Howdy doody. That's all the Southern words I have. We're in Fredericksburg, but it's not that Southern.
I don't even know if I can follow that up, but I will say thank you all for tuning in to the 323 Network here and listening into this week's installment of College Shame Day. We appreciate your support and passion for college football, engaging discussions, and, more importantly, personal growth. Because there is nothing more shameful than not growing as a person. Stay connected with us on Instagram, Facebook at 323 College Shame Day, and at 323 Reid on our YouTube at 323 Network. Don't forget to subscribe and catch our latest episodes wherever podcasts can be found. I listen to my podcast on Spotify. Reid, do you listen on Spotify too, or are you different?
I am a Spotify guy, but I also started listening on YouTube because now the podcast goes to the YouTube feed as well.
Fantastic. But hey, who am I to say? You listen to podcasts wherever you want to go. But until next time, keep the spirit alive, stay curious, and embrace the journey here at the 323 Network, and have a very shameful Saturday.
Georgia.